question.
Yes, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to put my PNQ, and I appreciate that you understood that it was a situation beyond my control, Madam
Of course.
Speaker. Thank you. And Speaker, I've given notice of the following private notice question addressed to the Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Defence, Home Affairs and External Communications, Minister of Finance, Minister for Rodrigues and Outer Islands, whether in regard to the prevailing law and order situation in the country, he will, for the benefit of the House, obtain from the Commissioner of Police information as to the measures being taken to address same and indicate the reforms being envisaged in the police force in relation thereto, if any. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, let me say I take note that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has used the word prevailing in the PNQ. I would like to point out that the law and order situation has deteriorated over the last 10 years. We are faced with a situation which is, at the moment, as it is, and we are trying to improve it. Under the previous regime, I think it could be described as the textbook example of institutional decrepitude. That's what will happen. It was terrible. I've stated on many occasions, Madam Speaker, that institutions are and remain the bedrock of any civilized democratic society. Unfortunately, over the past decade, we witnessed a deliberate attempt to undermine the credibility of our institutions in order to exert total control on them. That's what has happened. We've seen in all the institutions that we have seen. The police force under the previous government was one of the prime law and order agencies targeted for malevolent actions. And this has severely eroded the confidence in the police force and in the population. I've already taken steps to ensure that all our institutions act in strict compliance with the fundamental principles of justice, integrity, and accountability. We have to restore confidence of our nation in our institutions. The law and order situation is one of my highest priorities of this government also. Government will not allow unruly elements to threaten the very fabric of our society. We are showing our unflinching commitment to fight the scourges afflicting our country. We need to be particularly ruthless in the fight against crime, and in particular, drug trafficking. This is one of the reasons that crime has increased by such a degree. We need a police force that demonstrates a strong determination in the discharge of its duties without fear. You've seen viral videos where the police are being threatened with sabers and all those things. This cannot be allowed to continue. This must change. We have already embarked on a program with the assistance of foreign expertise on an ambitious plan to reform the police force with emphasis on efficiency, service delivery, strategic planning, and compliance with human rights. Over the past decades, police officers have been operating under very trying and coercive conditions. The former CP had become la risée de la nation mauritienne by his acts. And he was characterized by malfeasance and incompetency. To avoid the humiliation of being sacked, he retired with full benefits on the very day I was sworn in as Prime Minister, that is 13th of November 2024. Yeah, with the jail and everything. The House will recall the scandalous conversations. I'm glad that Honourable Juval is smiling. The scandalous conversations revealed by Moustache Links, where the population found out to its utter disbelief. It's my PNQ that I was working on, but I'm answering without looking at the I believe it. I'll do this for the moment. With scandalous disbelief, utter disbelief, that the headquarters of the police force was no longer at La Caserne, but in Angus Road, where major decisions were being taken on law and order issues. I'm informed that head police, I've been informed because we know we have the records. They were in headquarters, in constant contact with Angus Road, and a high-ranking officer was reporting, a DCP was reporting to Angus Road on a daily basis. I'm sure the leader of the opposition himself doesn't know that, because all of you were on top. Don't think you were not when you were in government. You were. We know that now. The Honourable, let me look if I find it. The Honourable Adhian was smiling. Let me remind you that, and the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, that Mustas Link had revealed that the Commissioner of Police had instructed on his case that, I have to quote it as it is, Madam Speaker, if you excuse me, faire Tessali et bouillonnant. That is on the Christmas Eve. You? Let me now, no, it wasn't the Voisin, it was higher up. Let me now give a few examples of the ineptitude and mismanagement of the police force, as clearly pointed out in the report of the Director of Audit in this 2023-2024. The ADSU had registered a 131% increase in the number of outstanding cases in June 2024, 6,813 as compared to 2,945 in 2020. The Safe City project was expected to be fully operational by June 2019. However, as at November of 2024, it was only partly put into operation. That is, there was a delay of almost 5 years. 143 out of the 300 intelligent traffic surveillance cameras were not yet installed. They had been paid for. Huge amounts of money, not yet installed. Less than half of the target areas, in fact, they have been installed at that place. The House will recall the number of occasions, the Safe City cameras were deliberately switched off in some places. We know the famous case of Kisnen.
Yeah.
No data available. There was no optional use of the crime occurrence tracking system, COTS. Then the CP, then CP didn't want this. He preferred manual records of inputting data in the e-system. He didn't want the data to be put in. There must be a reason for that. Madam Speaker, in the government program 2025-2029, we have laid down measures to restore trust in the police, to ensure effective enforcement of law and order, public safety, crime prevention, emergency response, and victim support. We have already started implementing those measures, restructuring and modernizing the role of the police and the National Security Service. Community policing, we are revamping all this with the Neighborhood Watch, creation of specialized units for protection of senior and security of senior citizens. We are going to introduce the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, do away with these provisional charges. You will have, in that law, you will see, you cannot take somebody, put him in prison without charging him for a long time. There will be a limit on the time. I'm not sure of the limit this one, I don't want to mention it. Setting up of new infrastructural facilities and modernization of police stations. We've had questions every day. Even in my own constituency, the police station is in a derelict state. We have said during the campaign, we've got to do everything at one go. We're doing one by one. And for the detention center, the child-friendly juvenile centers as well, the police training academy, which we have inaugurated while the Prime Minister of India Sri Narendra Modi was here, we have already inaugurated it. And the introduction of biometric passport with advanced encryption and anti-tampering mechanism. We are revamping the anti-drug and smuggling unit. In the process, we are merging the Emergency Response Service, the Divisional Support Unit, and the Police G2IS. We are restarting the international cooperation with friendly countries. You know, we have had complaints of friendly countries saying that they give me information, but nothing was done. We're restarting all this, and we have brought a retired police officer, Mr. Mo Voisin, to assist in high-profile cases, including the Kisner cases, and he's working with the people abroad from Scotland Yard on this matter. Deployment of SSU and SMF island-wide on a daily basis has been re-looked at. We are monitoring the habitual criminals and persons convicted for child abuse offenses. Even in other countries, we've seen in France. This has happened. We are now monitoring them, electronic register for monitoring habitual criminals released on bail. And there's going to be a new shift system for frontliners at police station. We are setting up, again, an inquiry panel to look into all these complaints that we have. And we are setting up, as I mentioned, I did mention, the National Crime Agency, which will comprise, it's not just an agency, it will comprise specialist divisions with skilled investigators, including foreign ones. At the same time, the National Prosecution Service will be under the responsibility of the Director of Public Prosecutions. We will stop this idea of, you remember the clash between the Commissioner of Police and the DPP. Now, with the Prosecution Service as it is the DPP who will decide who will be prosecuted, not the police. The police can give their views, but it will be for the DPP to decide who will be prosecuted and not prosecuted. We're also revamping the Divisional Criminal Intelligence Unit, and with a view to enhancing the fight against crime, the police has also increased, I think I mentioned it, the support of the SMF and the SSU, and we're doing further roadblocks, vehicle checkpoints, drug operations. The distribution of methadone scheme is also being looked at. I want to shorten my speech so I can ask your supplementary questions. And also noise pollution. We're also looking at public beaches. We have had incidents at public beaches, illegal rallies, noise pollution, and also aggression. All this is being looked at. I think the Minister for Transport mentioned yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, on Tuesday, that we are doing a thorough review of the whole issue of road safety and the penalty point system. We got a specialist, Mr. Jean-Claude, who came here on my demand from the United Nations Secretary General. He came here, he looked at things, he made lots of recommendations. The penalty point system, he agrees, should never have been stopped, never. We are looking at it in a global manner, and it will be reintroduced as from January 2026. As announced, we are already setting up an agency that will bring together various public bodies which are responsible for combating crime through the National Drug Agency. And also, I must say, the National Drug Agency for Drug Control, the Act, has already come into force. You know, there's a delay. Once we decided there's a delay. It has already come into force on the 15th of May, 2025, and it provides for the establishment of this agency as an apex body. The Drug Control Board, which will oversee the implementation of the master plan, once approved, it will be in line with Section 4C of the Act, under my chairmanship, to be responsible for monitoring and evaluating its execution. It's coming to Cabinet, if I may say so. Perhaps I can say so tomorrow. So let there be no doubt, Madam Speaker, this government is determined to break the cycle of impunity. We will not allow criminals to operate freely, whoever they are. We will not allow past wrongs to be buried. We will not let Mauritians live in fear. We are building a Mauritius where the rule of law reigns, where justice is swift. This is why we also look at reform over the judiciary, swift and impartial, and where every citizen, regardless of status or background, is protected under the law. As my honourable friend always says, no retreat, no surrender.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable.
I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his reply, and I believe we agree that the population is worried about the prevailing law and order situation. I've got some very specific questions for the Prime Minister. I believe the Prime Minister is aware that every day there is a video on social media of serious assault. Sometimes people are armed with machete, that is sab. And may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he finds this normal, and if not, what instructions have been given to the Commissioner of Police to stop people using these types of weapons to cause harm, Madam Speaker.
I agree with the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and of course I don't find it normal. This cannot be accepted in a civilized society. We cannot have this. And we are taking action against it. As I said, we are revamping all these cameras. We are training police. We are getting foreign experts to look at all this, how to handle this situation. One of the main problems is actually drugs. I must say, Madam Speaker, that is why it's so important that we have set up this National Drug Agency.
Yes.
I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for raising the issue of drugs, because my next question is related to drugs. Several cases of assault related to consumption of drugs have taken place lately, and sadly, Madam Speaker, one has led to the passing away of a mother who was beaten to death by her son. My question is how government will tackle similar situation when drug use is involved, particularly with the spread of synthetic drugs in the country, Madam Speaker.
As I said, that's why at the very beginning, Madam Speaker, I said the word prevailing in the question is as if it's happened today. It's been happening for it's been deteriorating. Drugs is everywhere in the country. You go in the street, you will see people selling drugs. It's a big, big task. This is why the National Drug Agency, Enforcement Agency, has been created with people who have knowledge about handling of drug cases. But we are progressing. We've already, as I said, the board will be named tomorrow. The act has already been passed and proclaimed. And so this is one of the main problems.
Yes.
The Honourable Prime Minister himself recently mentioned the lack of police officers in the force. We are aware, Madam Speaker, that the last recruitment exercise, only 50% of the vacancies could be filled. May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister what has been done to remedy the situation?
It is being remedied, Madam Speaker. I can say that, in fact, these posts are being filled now. We have always said, Madam Speaker, what we want is to give promotion on merit. There are some police officers who actually are very dedicated to the force, and they do the job. They need to have promotion. Not those who turn their face when they see something. That is what is the new mindset that we are having. Promotion in the police force. I say it again, a policeman needs to have a clear sight of what his career path is. He must not depend on politicians whether he'll be promoted or not promoted. We want the best policemen to be promoted whenever they are due. Whatever their political affiliation, we won't get into that. That is why. It cannot be that
Yes, Honourable.
Since the Honourable Prime Minister mentioned politician, may I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he has received any representations from senior police officers who have encountered recently political pressure during the course of an inquiry, or more precisely, as the Commissioner of Police made him aware of any such claim from a high-ranking official recently during the course of an inquiry on human trafficking? And if yes, what actions have been taken?
I must say I'm not aware of this, but if you have any details, please forward it to me.
Good. Yes, Miss. Yeah.
the question.
Your friend wants to talk.
Okay, I'll give him a question after that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there has been a series of cases of road rage where we see people fighting and severely injuring each other. May I know what are the measures the police has put in place to protect our citizens in such situations and to maintain order on our roads, Madam Speaker?
Yes, he's one of your MP's brother is one of the famous, notorious person who's doing this, and he is going to be apprehended if there's proof that it is him actually who is doing this, because I believe it is him. So we are going to take action. As I mentioned, I don't want to reread what I've said, Madam Speaker. I've already said these are the actions we are taking.
Also, we must keep an eye on the time. We will, yes, Mr. Duval.
Madam Speaker, may I ask the Prime Minister, how does he propose to increase capacity building when he's funding nearly 1,000 positions less in regular police for this financial year, and when in terms of purchase of equipment, vehicles, technology for police, he has given an increase less than the projected inflation. He's increased the budget by 2%. Inflation is projected to be between 3 to 5%. And he's reducing, again, in terms of human resource, nearly 1,000 positions less, 10% in the regular police which fights crime. So how do you propose to increase capacity building at this rate?
Everybody knows what is the situation. We're having to make, as where we can, where it is possible, where it is judicious, to make some less spending. If you look at the audit, Director of Audit report, you will see, even in the police, there are lots of wastage. So we are going to streamline everything, make sure that we have an efficient police force. Not a question of just sending money, spending money. It's quality of service that we want.
Yes?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, school violence actions are becoming more frequent among students within school premises, but also outside school premises. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House of the specific measures being taken by the Commissioner of Police to remedy same?
I can. In fact, Madam Speaker, it's good that this additional question has been asked. You know, during your mandate, drugs were being sold in schools, young children. So the police, I know the Commissioner of Police is very, looking at this very carefully. He's sending police officers to speak to school children, to tell them about the dangers of drugs, but also he's looking at the periphery of schools. Who are the people who are coming to try to sell drugs to these young kids?
Yes?
With regard to the forthcoming publication of the PRB report, can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House if consultations have been done to improve considerably the working conditions of police officers?
As I said, the police are working in some places in terrible condition. Even in my own constituency, I just mentioned, the police station there, during the campaign, I went in there to have a look. It's unbelievable. How can you expect the police to work in these conditions? But as you know, we are trying to, we can't do everything at one go. This is why I think questions were asked by various members, and I'm saying which police station we are prioritizing, and then this will continue.
Yes?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we have witnessed several cases where citizens take the law into their own hands in the absence of police officers, or sometimes also in the presence of police officers. This is a crime against public peace, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister how he intends to address this issue?
We will have to be, comme je l'ai dit, Madame la Présidente, intransigeant. It is not acceptable that people take the law into their own hands. We've had a case just prior to the election where a tapper of the MSM insulted a police officer who was trying to put order. Insulted, he went to complain. Nothing has been happened to the complaint. You know who I'm talking about. So this is also unacceptable. And this is something that we'll have to act very, very strongly against.
You have more questions?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Two more.
Yes, carry on.
Madam Speaker, the actual Commissioner of Police is way past his retirement age and on contract. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House whether he intends to designate a new Commissioner of Police? And if not, why not?
I must say, Madam Speaker, he's one of the best Commissioner of Police that we've ever had. Perhaps Jagannath was as good. And he's very good. Gopal Singh also was very good. But he's one of the persons who is very strict. His integrity is not to be questioned. And he's doing his best. He's working 24 hours practically every day. As long as he delivers, he will be there.
Yes, your last question.
Honourable Prime Minister, I think you will agree
has
that
the
since the beginning of this year, there's a growing sentiment d'insécurité prevailing in the country. Yes, this is the case. Does the Honourable Prime Minister feel that he should send a strong message and act swiftly to reverse this dangerous trend?
This is exactly, it's not now. Since 10 years this has been going. This is why I objected to the word prevailing. This has been going on. Deterioration in the law and order situation. There was no law and order. Everybody had a sense of immunity. They can do whatever they want if they're close to the MSM. Will stop. And this is what we're doing.
Mr. Francois.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there is a shortage of police human resources officers in Rodrigues, as I raised in one of the PQ. I'm aware that the Commissioner of Police is sending or transferring some of the police officers to Rodrigues. May I kindly request again to the Honourable Prime Minister to ask the Commissioner of Police to sending more of these police officers to Rodrigues in support to the Police Service Act.
That is a request, not a question.
I will pass it on to the Commissioner of Police.
Yes, Mr. Duval.
Last time I had made a proposition to the Prime Minister, will he reconsider having a permanent police presence on beaches that are used by tourists? Because I raised a question to the Prime Minister last time. There has been an increase of violent crimes against tourists and beachgoers. Will he consider putting a permanent police presence in those beaches like Grand Bay, etc., which are, yes, Grand Gobe as well, you're right. Yes, also, which are frequented to ensure that people feel safe.
Yes, Honourable Prime
No, we
Minister.
can do what we can do. We are limited resources. We have been in a mess, financial mess that you left us, and we're trying to put this economy on its rails. So we will do what we do. But I can tell you, the Commissioner of Police is already sending regular patrols on the beach. There's no permanent presence at the moment. Maybe something that he will do later on, I don't know, but there are more regular patrols going on at the beaches.
Thank you very much.